All right, everybody, we are live with the Combatcast, and we are going to talk all things UFC 289. Well, maybe not all things; it wasn't all worth talking about. And we'll talk about some retirements. We'll talk about some fights this weekend. But first, Chevy, tell people what we got coming up.
All right, June 24th, UFC Fight Night Emmett versus Topuria. Then July 1st, UFC Fight Night Strickland versus Magomedov. And then International Fight Week, July 7th, UFC 290, Volkanovski versus Rodriguez. That card's going to be great.
So some big fights coming up. And let's talk about UFC 289 right away. We'll get right into this because you did not get to watch this card, but I did. And
I chose not to watch this card.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Well, right off the bat, I mean, co-main event, Charles Oliveira, very impressive. I was thinking he would win this. You would disagree with me, but I remember thinking it was going to be competitive, and your argument was very convincing. I was like, shit, that's a good point. But, man, it did not matter. Charles Oliveira looked like on another level. Dariush was on the ground temporary with him. He didn't get submitted. He did all right. But it was a big difference on the feet and the striking that I have to say, even I didn't expect that big a difference.
Yeah, Oliveira just has bricks for hands, I think, at this point. Bummer for Dariush. He really deserved a title shot. It's tough break catching a fight. Who at this point I would rank as the greatest lightweight of all time, Charles Oliveira. So bummer for him, but great for Charles. Dana was talking about how maybe you have to do him versus Makhachev again. I think that's going to be dependent on the Gaethje and Poirier fight. If we get a decisive victory from one of those guys, they might jump the queue to fight Makhachev. But at this point, I think that Oliveira is my greatest lightweight of all time. I'd rank him over Khabib just for the fact that he has so many finishes over so many huge names in that division. He's fought everyone, so I wouldn't be opposed to him getting a rematch against Makhachev.
Yeah, and I will say this too. They were talking about this on the Post Wrestling podcast. They do a UFC review there too, and they're from Canada. And the event was in Canada, and they were talking about how popular Charles Oliveira was in Canada. And it was just funny for me because I'm thinking, like, this guy has now become a hardcore MMA fan. Because if you're a hardcore MMA fan, Charles Oliveira is that guy. You just know who's going to put on exciting fights and exciting performances. And, he doesn't speak English.
He does now. He's learned it. In his post-fight, he was speaking English, which is only going to make his star grow.
Right. And I just think that at the end of the day, without even speaking, like his language has been, his actions, and like his actions are on another level. He is that kind of exciting fighter. He had no offense to Alex, he's a Brazilian cowboy, right now.
Yeah, for sure.
So, anyway, that was great. I think that he's going to have a title shot next, unless they decide to make him wait for the winner of Poirier, Gaethje. But he could fight the winner of that. He could fight the loser of that. Or honestly, if they pulled a rabbit out of a hat and they got Chandler and Conor to actually fight, and let's say Conor won, I could see Oliveira and Conor fighting too. Like, that wouldn't be too. I know they might just do the title shot with Conor, but I'm just saying, I'm sure it'd be Conor's big money anyway. So,
I'm not even sure we see Conor at 155 again, to be honest with you. Unless it's a title shot. I don't think we see him at 155.
I didn't say it'd be 155. I just said it might
have fight. Charles move up to 170 to fight. I don't know.
I bet you Charles would do it.
And people would jump 3 weight classes to fight Conor. Yeah.
Yes.
I'm sure he would do it. Yeah.
Absolutely. Why wouldn't you?
All right. Let's move on to the main event. Yeah. Amanda Nunes versus Irene Aldana.
So this fight, it was very funny. I wanted Aldana to just put up a competitive fight. I had this feeling that Nunes was possibly going to retire and, just take the title division. I was kind of excited for the all Mexican fight pay-per-view prospect in my head.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, watching this fight, I just felt like it was very clear that Nunes was on another level compared to Aldana, meaning that Aldana, I felt like she was there. I don't think she was intimidated necessarily. I didn't feel that way. Maybe some people did. She had a great counter punch, which the announcers made a big deal out of early in the fight. It was round 1 or round 2, but it was clear that it didn't matter because she just wasn't the same level on the striking. And honestly, I thought Amanda probably could have took it to the ground like a lot of people did and maybe tap her out. But instead, she kept it 5 rounds and made us watch all 5 rounds of this. And I did anyway. And, just good for her. She won. But at the end of the day, it's going to be, what do we do next year?
Yeah, I mean, Amanda is the greatest women's MMA athlete of all time. She's beat all the top girls. I think that if her heart had really been in it the last few years, you would have seen some more finishes. I think she kind of was phoning it in. It's still super dominant. Bummer for Aldana, but I think anyone was getting beat on that night. What I would like to talk about a little bit is Pena.
Mm-hmm.
She has been super cringy, like really going after this fight, saying Amanda is scared. Like, you got dominated in that second fight. Like, it was clear the first fight was a fluke, So, it just rubs me the wrong way. Show some respect to a legend. She's going out. You're probably going to be champ, or you're going to have your opportunity at being champ. She's earned the right to retire at this point for sure. So, don't be a dick.
I think she saw her money fight going up in the air.
There's no money fight, be the champion. That's all the money you're going to get. Like, Amanda Nunes is as big a star as there's going to be in women's MMA right now, but it's still not,
right,
life-changing money. Like, just become champ and you'll be okay.
And honestly, I mean, Pena's got to be the one who's fighting for the vacant title.
Absolutely.
So I don't,
she's the last person to beat the champ.
Right.
So
I actually, we'll talk about Amanda's retirement here, but I was actually kind of had the idea that they should do Pena, and I actually think Shevchenko should move up a weight class.
I was thinking that too. That might be a good time for her to move up.
Like, why not? That could be part of the problem she's had is making that weight. Now, you're getting a little older. You've been fighting for a while. Let's try a fresh coat, and you can only build to your legacy if you can win this championship. You have a victory over Pena in the past. So yeah, let's see those two fight at it.
Right. At least give it a go. I think that is the matchup to make for me.
Now, as far as Nunes retiring, can't blame her.
Right.
You did it all. You saved your money. Other than maybe getting on a Conor McGregor card, like, you're not really, going to have too much more money you're going to probably make in this business. I would think that this is good for her. This is a great time to get out. She'll go down as the greatest MMA fighter of all time in the women's division until, the next dominant person comes around. But it's going to be a while to, and I think it'll always be a dispute because she was the most dominant woman of her era.
Right. She set the bar very high. Someone is going to have to come in and really just smash girls in multiple divisions for a long time to take that title from her. And yeah, I agree. There's always going to be a debate because that's how it is with these eras when we can't get fighters fighting in their prime, but she set the bar very high.
And I will say this too, one last thing too. I'm guessing this is going to be the end of the featherweight championship.
Oh, for sure. I actually saw somebody on Twitter say, okay, featherweight's going out. Dana, bring in the atom weight division. And I think that might be a better idea because there are the talent pool is much, much larger. If you look over like one championship, they have a large atomweight division, which is 105 pounds. That's where Watterson started out at and everything. So I think that would have been the better way to go. Clearly, they made that division just for Cyborg and then ended up being Nunes, and they kept it around so they could keep calling her the double champ. But that there hasn't been rankings in that division since they started it. So time to get rid of it, and let's go the other way.
Absolutely. All right, so that's enough of UFC 289. It was what it was for a pay-per-view, and now we have a fight night this week. We'll get into the co-main event, main event, unless there's anything else you want to talk about this card.
No, those are the two big fights for me, for sure. We're going back to the Apex.
Late start, by the way. I heard this one's starting at 10.
Oh, is it? Bummer.
Yeah, I know. Like, I'll have to catch this in the morning.
Might be catching this one on replay on ESPN Plus. But co-main event: Arman Tsarukyan versus Joaquim Silva.
All right, Silva is 12-3, 7 KOs, 3 subs, 2 decisions. Arman is 19-3, 7 KOs, 5 subs, 7 decisions. A short and sweet. I like Arman. I think this guy's got a lot of potential. This is a good fight, but I like Arman. I think he's a little bit better everywhere. Just like you know what I mean? Like he's just a little bit better, and I think that he'll get the job done. I'm gonna say round 2 submission.
Yeah, on paper, this should be a win for Tsarukyan for sure. I do think that Silva is slick, but Tsarukyan is just levels above him. I think this is just a stepping stone to get him back on track after that loss to Gamrot that he had, who is a monster. So no shame there. But he should be fighting ranked guys after this. If he wins, I'd like to see maybe him fight Dariush, because Dariush just beat Gamrot. And then lost to Oliveira, obviously. So if he wins this fight, I'd like to see him fight Dariush next, which I think he will by round 2 TKO. He could win any number of ways. He's very well rounded. He has great wrestling, but I think he has the power to put Silva's lights out. I'm going to say they feel each other out a little bit, tires him out, wears him down. Round 2 finishes them.
All right.
Main event. I'm very excited to see this fight in the small Apex cage. Marvin Vettori versus Jared Cannonier.
So Cannonier is 16-6, 10 KOs, 2 subs, 4 decisions, and at middleweight, his only losses are to Whitaker and Stylebender. That's the 2 best and the 2 former champs other than Alex Pereira, who had that cup of coffee with it. And then you got Marvin Vettori, who's 19-6-1, 2 KOs, 9 subs, 8 decisions, and he's won 7 out of his last 9 fights. Wouldn't you know it? Those only 2 losses are to Whitaker and Stylebender. So this is a very even matchup. To me, if you're not Whitaker or Stylebender, these are the next 2 best fighters in that division. Like, this could be for the middleweight championship if we didn't have those other 2 problems. And honestly, even if Alex Pereira was still here, stylistically, these 2 match up a lot better against Pereira than Stylebender did. That being said, I actually find this one very difficult to pick. I feel like they are just such evenly matched competitors. My gut is telling me Vettori somehow should win this. But I feel like Cannonier has a little more power in his punches, and I think that could be the difference maker. I think Jared Cannonier could catch him. I don't know if he will, though. Vettori is really good, grapple and clinch and everything else too. So this is going to be an interesting fight. I'm gonna lean towards Jared Cannonier, but I think this could go either way. I'll say Jared gets it done by a decision.
Yeah, this is a great stylistic matchup for Cannonier. He has all the power, and Marvin walks forward no matter what. But Marvin is just a dog, and he has a great chin.
Right.
And he's willing to eat some shots to land his own. And he's never going to give up in there. I do think that Jared can be broken with relentless pressure, and if somebody just won't go away after getting hit a few times. So I think that is going to play well to Marvin. I think Marvin can mix in some wrestling, takedown attempts just to keep Jared guessing, and then land some shots, some big hooks or whatever of his own. Good matchup, but I do think that Marvin makes it a dirty, grimy fight, dog fight, and ends up getting a decision that way.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just leaning towards Jared, but it's funny when I think decision, it does make me think Marvin, like Jared.
Yeah, if it's a finish, I would lean towards Jared as well. But
yeah, well, we'll see. It's 5 rounds. I'm going to change my prediction a little bit. I'm going to go with Jared, but I'll say he finishes him late. I'm going to say round 4 TKO. Mm-hmm. So let's tell people what we got coming up one more time.
All right, June 24th, UFC Fight Night, Emmett versus Topuria. That's actually a really good matchup. We haven't talked too much about that, but those are two very dangerous guys. They don't have the biggest names, but that is a very good matchup.
Stylistically, it's a fun fight too because Emmett's got that power too. I think it'd be very interesting, but I don't think he's the better striker.
No, and Topuria is more well-rounded, I think, but we'll see. This could be a coming out party for him too, because Emmett has fought some top level guys where Topuria hasn't really yet. So
not that level.
Yeah, not that level. So, and then July 1st, UFC Fight Night, Strickland versus Magomedov. I'm sure the build up to that will be fantastic because Sean Strickland's crazy. Mm-hmm. And then International Fight Week, July 7th, UFC 290, Volkanovski versus Rodriguez. That also has Brandon Moreno versus Pantoja. It has Dan Hooker versus Jalen Turner. It's got Robbie Lawler, Nico Price.
Robbie Lawler's retirement fight.
Yeah, it's got Bo Nickel versus Tresean Gore. Just a super, super stacked card. Obviously, International Fight Week, they always stack them, but we're looking forward to that.
Should be good ones. All right, guys. Thanks for joining us again, and we'll see you at the fights.